Hello Fragrance family, welcome to Fragrance Therapy. I'm your host Alam. Now I did an old school versus new school clone tournament video a few months ago. I had a bunch of guests over. I had them vote on the fragrances. At the end we crowned a winner. I'll put a link for that video somewhere on screen. So when I had another get together, I knew I had to do another one. I had roughly about the same number of folks here. There was good age range between like elderly and teenagers. I think there was a pretty even split between men and women, though I do believe it slightly favored the women if I remember correctly. But this time on one side, I decided to put some of the most popular designer winter fragrances. On the other side, some of the most popular clone winter fragrances. And the winner of each side went head to head. I start off with 16 fragrances and ended with one winner. Let's see which one came out on top. So like last time, we're going to go back and forth between the designer side and the clone side. But let's start with the clone side. The first matchup was French Avenue's Royal Blend Sequoia against Armaf's Ombre d'Or. Now, this one, of course, is like a floral, fruity gourmand inspired by Kilian's Angel Share Paradis. This takes that sweet, boozy DNA of the original Angel Share and adds this unique red fruit profile with raspberry. To me, this comes off elegant, playful, smooth, bright opening with raspberry mixed with that cognac. Also in the heart you get some rose and moss, gives it some sophistication, and some additional sweetness with praline. Honestly, with that raspberry and those floral touches, I prefer this DNA over the original standard Angel Share DNA. This went head to head against Armaf's Ombre d'Or. This is an oriental, spicy fragrance. It's modern, it has a slightly metallic tinge to it. To me, this thing radiates off the skin. It was one of my favorite releases of last year. But really, I think this thing really shines in the mid. That's when you get those metallic notes with saffron, get a bit of iris, rose. There's also like some smokiness with incense in the base. Not your typical scent profile. Some people say that it's inspired by Maitre Premier's Crystal Saffron. Some people say it's an original creation. Either way, I do believe this is a challenging scent profile, but it is one that I really do enjoy. A shocker right out the gate, because Armaf moved on with a whopping 100% of the votes. I thought Royal Blend Sequoia was going to fare much better, but most people said that raspberry in here was too syrupy sweet. So yeah, surprisingly, Armaf Ombre d'Or moves on. For the designer side, the first one was 1 Million Parfum versus Hugo Boss Bottled Absolute. The 1 Million Parfum is my favorite in the line. It takes that 1 Million DNA that everybody knows, but it adds some like saltiness, some tuberose, and also some leather. It's unique because that salty sweet vibe makes it feel much more mature and tropical compared to like the bubblegum sweetness of the original. This thing is loud, it's attention grabbing, and lasts forever. On the other side, we had Boss Bottled Absolute. This thing is a darling in the fragrance community. This is definitely the darkest fragrance in the Boss Bottled lineup. Emphasizes on those woody notes, a little bit of smokiness, definitely tones down the sweetness. It's masculine, it's dark, it's more serious and mature than any of the other fragrances in the line. If this was a battle between like frag heads, I think this would definitely come out on top, but it's not. In this case, 1 Million moves on with 72% of the votes. Not much of a surprise, though this is beloved in our community, this can be challenging for normies. The next matchup on the clone side was Rayhan's Terra versus the brand new Afnan's 9 PM Night Out. We'll start with Terra. This thing is a much more mass appealing take on Almage's Outlands. It's resinous, it's rich, it's earthy, has a lot of spices and incense in here. The list of spices includes stuff like Szechuan pepper, cardamom, also has patchouli and saffron, really heavy frankincense, which gives it that smokiness. Also some oud in here. This thing, though, is a more mass appealing take on Outlands. It's still not a like blind buy safe fragrance. There's a lot of people that hate it, a lot of people that love it, but it is a heavy hitter when it comes to cold weather fragrances because it's dense, it's resinous. I, for one, love it, but wasn't sure how I was going to do in this tournament. I put that against I think this might be the newest release on this list. To me, I just recently did a 9 PM ranking and this came out on top. Yes, it's the newest one, recency bias and all that, but it is my favorite of the line. It gives off this very tropical yet boozy and sweet DNA. It's an exotic beast mode fragrance that does come off really addictive. It features this very unique dragon fruit note. Then you combine that with like cognac and apple. Also has a ton of toffee sweetness in the mid, but also it's balanced with like things like suede and gaiac wood. Again, not so bubblegummy sweet as the original 9 PM. It is still a sweet fragrance, but it's more complex. And I thought 9 PM was going to be a lock in this round. but this actually fell to Terra, which came out with 57% of the votes. So one that I thought was going to go far in this tournament gets knocked out early. One that I thought was going to struggle a lot actually makes it through the next round. Goes to show you never know what you're going to get. So the next matchup on the designer side was Stronger With You Absolutely versus Prada L'Homme Intense. Start off with this one. This one is a crowd pleaser. It's a boozy yet smoky and sweet fragrance. It has that signature chestnut, that vanilla DNA, also has this refined rum note, and a touch of lavender makes it more aromatic. It's warm, it's cozy. It's one that is like super mass appealing, super loved. Perfect for like the cold weather and like a date night. I put that up against one that I knew that was gonna struggle in this tournament, but I love it so much I wanted to add it in here. Prada L'Homme Intense, think black tie event, that's when you would rock this one. The original Prada L'Homme is more soapy and clean. This intense version adds iris, leather, tonka bean, smells really high-end, sophisticated, comes off incredibly elegant. In my opinion, it's one of the best classy scents out there on the market. But this one did play out as expected because Stronger With You absolutely moved on with 72% of the votes. I think that iris leather fragrance is not that mass appealing. It works really well for people that have developed noses, but those who are kind of new to this, kind of can be a little bit weird for them. Next up, we had Lattafa's Musamam Black Intense against Kadlaj's Zayan Gold. Now, I know technically this is not a clone fragrance, it's an original creation, but it just did fit more onto that side, so that's why I included it in this side of the tournament. This thing is dark, it's woody, has slight gourmand notes. On top, you get things like lavender, nutmeg, some bergamot. You also get two captive ingredients that Lattafa created just for their use. One is called Rosophilia, the other one is called Cocoa Pulse. Both I think are exceptional creations. They work really well in this fragrance. This thing has this unique like maple syrup, dark chocolate undertone, and I for one am not a fan of chocolate fragrances, but it is very dark and dense in here. It works really well. You mix that with smoky woods, you get this mature, intense, heavy like burnt wood type fragrance that is really addictive in my opinion. Then you put that against a fragrance that's inspired by JPG's La Male Elixir. I think it mixes it with a touch of La Male Parfum. You get notes like plum, cardamom, bergamot on top, some aromatics. You get some tonka bean and patchouli in the base as well. This, in my opinion, is a smooth, mass-appealing scent profile. It's spicy, has some sweetness. That plum and cinnamon mixture make it really stand out. I thought this was gonna fare far better than it ended up doing, because this only got 14% of the votes. Musamam easily moves on with 86% of the votes. Back on the designer side, we had Viktor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme versus Dolce & Gabbana's The One EDP. This is not the reformulation, it's the older batches. This one, many consider the best in the line. It has this tobacco, it has vanilla. As the name suggests, has a very intense spiciness. This is the most dark, the most dense, the most spicy fragrance in the entire line. It smells like high quality pipe tobacco mixed with some peppers, with a creamy vanilla dry down, a beast mode performer for the winter. That against Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP. Some people call this like the ultimate date night fragrance. To me, this is a perfection of amber, tobacco, ginger. It's warm, it's inviting, but it is also very masculine without being like too loud and aggressive. When it comes to like fall and winter fragrances, this is like, you know, a lot of people's go-to. The biggest knock that people have with this one is performance, but in this case that didn't really matter because it was just about how much people liked the scent profile. With this one, not overly surprising here, Spice Bomb is just not as mass appealing as this one, especially for people that are uninitiated and not into fragrances as much as people like you and me. The one moves on with an easy 86% of the votes. Next up on the affordable side, we had Aromatix Carnal Desire versus Arabia Prestige's Lattafa Light in the Heart, right? Yeah, Light in the Heart. Carnal Desire is like sweet, it's leathery, very seductive, tons of raspberry and bergamot on top. You also get some sweetness with cotton candy, but that's all kind of balanced with notes like orris, leather, oud, vanilla, a little bit of woodiness with cedar as well. On the other side, we had Lattafa Light in the Heart by Arabia Prestige, and this is essentially MFK's Grand Soir blended with PDM's Altair. It's a warm ambery scent, a perfect example of how hybrids can work really, really well. You get cinnamon, you get a little bit of woodiness, vanilla, of course. It's very heavy, it's very resinous, tons of amber, smoky woods, has a very powerful like Ambroxan vanilla dry down as well. I thought another blowout was in order because of people's reaction to Royal Blend Sequoia, and this one also has a ton of raspberry in it. But in this case, Carnal Desire fared much better. It won with actually 57% of the votes. The final face-off in this round was Azzaro's Most Wanted Parfum against Givenchy Gentleman Society Ombre. With Givenchy Gentleman Society Ombre, it's another one that I love, but I knew was going to struggle in this type of format because this one is also very iris heavy. But I thought those added ambers in here would help balance the fragrance out, maybe make it more palatable for like uninitiated noses. But this thing was going up against like a classic with Azzaro's Most Wanted Parfum. This thing is a compliment magnet. It is sweet, it's spicy, it's woody. It has like that burst of ginger in the opening, but then also has these deep gourmands with bourbon vanilla. It does have this sweetness in the opening, but it matures as it dries down. Very sexy, mass appealing, woody scent profile. Most Wanted Parfum, in my opinion, was one of the front runners to win the entire thing. And it did easily win this matchup against a more challenging scent profile. This one moved on with 82% of the votes. Let's start with the affordable / clone side. We have Rayhan's Terra versus Ombre Dior. This was a matchup, in my opinion, of two very challenging scent profiles, not something that's mass appealing. But of the two, if you ask me which one is less mass appealing, I would have to say it's this one. But surprisingly, this pulled off the victory. Armaf's Ombre Dior moved on, but with just 57% of the votes. Listen, on the designer side, we had only heavy hitters left. So first up, we had Stronger With You Absolutely against 1 Million Parfum. I thought this was going to be much closer, but Stronger With You Absolutely completely dominated this scent profile. It took 86% of the votes, by far the largest margin of victory in this round. Then we had Musamam Black Intense versus Aromatix Carnal Desire, and that anti-raspberry sentiment reared its head again. Though it did survive the last round, it could not make it past this round. People were just like, it's too cloyingly sweet. Musamam Black Intense moved on with the easy 72% of the votes. The final matchup in this round, Dolce & Gabbana's The One EDP versus Most Wanted Parfum. I was actually really interested in seeing this go head-to-head against Strong With You Absolutely, two incredibly popular fragrances for the winter, but that did not end up happening because The One knocked this one out, took the win with 57% of the votes. Then there were only four. Let's start with the affordable side. And first we had Musamam Black Intense versus Ombre Dior. One fragrance that I think is challenging, but has something very unique about it that people seem like gravitated towards. On the other side, a newer release that I think is going to be beloved for a very long time. Now, Armaf did put up a good fight in this round, but Musamam Black Intense took down the underdog, in my opinion, what is the underdog with 57% of the votes. On the designer side, it was not as surprising. We had The One EDP, Stronger With You Absolutely, two complete mass appealing compliment magnets. Same like the last two, this was very close on this side, but Stronger With You Absolutely moved on with 57% of the votes. So it came down to these two. On the designer side, we had Stronger With You Absolutely. On the affordable side, we have Musamam Black Intense. I already knew this is a very well-loved fragrance. What this solidifies for me is that Lattafa cooked with this release. This thing is complex, it's dark, it's deep, and overall I think it's a fragrance that is unique and just absolutely works. On the designer side, it's hard to find a fragrance that is so massively beloved like this one. It's no wonder that Armani is really leaning into this line. It is at this point, they're definitely their flagship line. Now I'll be honest, I was kind of rooting for the Musamam Black Intense because it represents everything I love of what's coming out of the Middle East. It's affordable niche. It's something that is becoming more and more popular with these Dubai brands. And it's something I hope I see more and more of. But though it did put up a really, really good fight, it did at the end of the day lose out to a super mass appealing, fun fragrance that is very beloved. So at the end of the day, Strong With You absolutely came out on top and was the winner of this tournament. So there you have it, folks. My latest tournament video. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of thing and if you'd like me to do it more. I would drive my guests crazy every time they come, but I'll do it for you guys. Also, let me know if this went the way you thought it was going to go. And if you do want to see more of these tournament style face-offs, hey, give me some ideas in the comment section. And also, please hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep growing this channel together. As always, stay tuned for more honest, affordable fragrance content. Until next time, I'm out.